is Shemot, which means names. It mainly has to do with the descendants of Jacob who came to Egypt during the famine in Canaan. After Joseph died, a new pharaoh came to power. The children of Israel multiplied in Egypt. However, threatened by their growing numbers, Pharaoh enslaved them and ordered the Hebrew midwives, Sifra and Puah, to kill the male babies at birth. When they didn't comply, Pharaoh commanded his people to cast the male Hebrew babies into the Nile. During this period, a son is born to Yocheved, a daughter of Levi, and her husband Amram. Being as it was clearly a dangerous time, Yocheved placed her son in a basket and put it on the river. Miriam, the baby's sister, stood watching from afar as the basket floated away. The basket ended up floating to Pharaoh's daughter, and she decided to keep the boy and raise him as her own, and she called him Moses. The story jumps ahead many years to depict how Moses kills an Egyptian after he sees the Egyptian beating one of the Hebrews. As a young man, Moses leaves the palace and discovers the hardship of his brethren, and in a moment's notice he kills the Egyptian. The next day he sees two Jews fighting, but they revealed that they saw what he did to the other Egyptian. Feeling a lot of fear over this, Moses is forced to leave his home and go to Midian. There he rescues Jethro's daughters from some men at a well, and as a reward, Jethro's daughter is given to Moses as a wife and is given a position as a shepherd in his over his father-in-law's flocks. Moses lives 40 years in Midian, during which time he has a son whom he names Gershom. One day, while Moses is out tending flocks, God appears to Moses in the form of a burning bush that didn't actually burn. This is a phenomenon that is talked about a lot. The Lord instructs him to go to Egypt and demand to Pharaoh, "Let my people go so that they may serve me." However, Moses says he isn't a good speaker and that he has a heavy tongue and didn't want to speak. And after much arguing with God over the matter, the Lord decides to let Aaron, Moses' brother, do the talking, while Moses performs the wonders of God using the tools that the Lord provided for him. In Egypt, Moses and Aaron assembled the elders of Israel to tell them that the time of their redemption has come. The people believe, but Pharaoh continually refuses to let them go. And after this first plea, Pharaoh only increases the workload of the Israelites and makes their lives more miserable by giving them more work than before, but beating them down if they do not fill the larger amount of work in the same amount of time. After a time, Moses becomes more and more discouraged and has words with God saying that the Lord promised to redeem Israel, but since Moses has gotten there and done what the Lord has asked, he's only made the lives of the people worse. Moses cries out in confusion and anguish over the pains of his people. But the Lord replies with, "Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh, for he shall let the people go because of a greater might. Indeed, because of a greater might, he shall drive them from his land." The portion I chose to chant is Exodus 5:2-5. This particular passage lays out Pharaoh's feelings towards what is going on in his empire. Pharaoh says, "But who is Adonai that I should listen to his voice and let Israel go? I do not know Adonai, and besides, I will not let Israel go." The main thing laid out in this passage is a struggle between Pharaoh and God to see who is the bigger dog. Pharaoh was so threatened by the presence of the Israelites, and he couldn't stand the idea that he wasn't in control. He had a vast kingdom, and he had riches, and he had a family, but he couldn't see past his own desires for power long enough to keep anything he had. He lost his family, his people, and his wealth, and he lost it all. He grasped it from the one thing he felt he had left. Chapter 5, verse 5 says, "Look, the people of the land are now so numerous, yet you would have them rest from their labors?" As Pharaoh became more and more unsure of himself and his power, he tried to choke the will to live out of the Israelites. Taking away someone's life is a mercy in comparison to giving them nothing left to live for. And Pharaoh was determined that if he lost everything, he was going to take the Israelites down with him. Now, considering I work in a mental health institution, I say this is the epitome of unhealthy behavior. As I was reading this passage, I couldn't help thinking how much of this I see every day. I see clients walk into my office and they all have different problems and want different things in life, but they are all still broken. In this passage, Pharaoh is the one that's broken. He sabotages every good thing he has in life over an obsessive need to know that he is powerful and worthy of his own power. And it ends up getting him killed. And in a way, Moses coming to Pharaoh and asking him to let the Israelites go doesn't seem like something that was orchestrated just for Moses or just for the children of Israel, but also for Pharaoh. During that time, Pharaoh showed what was in his heart and how far he would be willing to go to protect himself from everything around him. And he destroyed his entire life and the lives of many others, and that's all he's remembered for. He will never be known for any good thing he may have done. He will never be known as a good father or a good husband or a good ruler. And seeing the people in my office at work and seeing their lives and hearing their stories and reading this passage, the Lord really hit me with the fact that the choices we make matter. They matter to us and to those around us, and there are so many choices we could make that we can never take back. And that really helped remind me that even the small choices, I shouldn't take them for granted. And especially when it means something to other people besides myself.